This part's going to recreate a hand, and we're going to create it a little more simpler than this 3D scanned hand. However, we're going to use this 3D scanned hand as a guide. Download the Maya file or STL, and then open it up in Maya. Making a new scene, dragging the arm scan into Maya. Sure, it's dense, and we know how to deal with that. We'll just box model around it. You can line it up on the viewport plane by just holding down the J key and just rotating it down. Get into a good position that works for you. I'm going to model it like this. Creating a new layer for it. This way it doesn't interfere. Right click, add selected objects. Let me call this scan layer. Making a new layer. And this will be my modeling layer. I can make this a reference layer. This way I can turn it on and off. I'll use the modeling layer to model. Creating a box. I'm going to give this box a different color just so we can see it easier as things get modeled. Right click, assign new material. Lambert, picking a color. That's easier to see. Eventually, we'll hit the 3 key or apply a mesh smooth. Scale a little smaller. And I'm just interested in the wrist area. Reshaping the box to squish it a little bit. Right clicking, going to the face here, extruding out that first face. Going to the vertex level, selecting the vertices on this side and moving it over. Selecting this face, pulling it forward, press the 3 key, see what we got. Going back to shaded viewport, something like this. We'll worry about the thumb a little later on, which will be an extrusion outward. I'll extrude one more time that front face. Let me put everything into position by selecting those vertices and moving them over. I'll turn on X-ray for a moment. This way I could better see what's going on. Wrangling in all the vertices. I'm going to do multi-cut, multi-cut, multi-cut to get the fingers going. Let me realign this like here and here to get the slope. Remember, this is the shape we created so far. So if you're going for a low polygon model, and this is still a great starting point. 1 3 key, picking up the multi-cut tool, holding down the control key, and I have a choice to just cut here or cut going throughout this whole object. I tried going throughout the whole object first. And I just need 3 cuts, 1 for each finger. Now I need to reshape this object. Right now, and a lot thicker than I need it to be. So selecting cross section of vertices and just moving them down. Doing the same thing on the bottom. Cross section of vertices, moving them up. Going where the palm of the hand is, moving that up a little bit. Start to make an indentation by selecting these vertices here. Just pulling them up. Let me un-X-ray for a moment. That's what we created so far. Fingers are going to be so easy from this point. I just want to make sure I didn't go too far with the fingers, being I have enough room to extrude outward. Right in between the gap of the fingers, where I want to align these vertices and these faces. Come back and shape the size of the fingers afterwards. Just don't want too much room to start with. And this one, go here. This could be so easy. Selecting this face and just dragging out an extrusion. Just one extrusion. And I'll do the same thing with others. Going down the Shift key and extruding. I just want to get this started, then I could do all the fingers at once. Shift key and Shift key. This way I could look at the sizing of things. Like this looks too thick. I'll move it over. Pinky has a lot of pinky area. And just reshaping as needed. And we could come back and reshape in a moment. Now I'll select all these faces up front. And I have faith that I selected all of them. But just in case, I could press the 4 key just to make sure I selected all 4 of them. Or I could go into X-ray mode. Shift and extrude. Just dragging for extrusion. And do it one more time. Now we have enough building material. And even though our fingers are a little lopsided here, we got the general shape of the hand without the thumb. I'm going to spend a little time reshaping this. Some of the reshaping is just repositioning of the fingers. When the vertice level, just selecting a ring of vertices, just moving it over. Doing the same for each finger. When possible, use the scale tool. Have some symmetry going on during the distortion. I'm also going to straighten out these tilted vertices by using the rotate tool. Rotating it like that. Then going back and scaling. So our base hand is shaping up. Once you do one hand, save this file, and then you'll never have to do it again. You save this file, and then resave it, and work on the details of your hand for that particular character using the same base model over and over again. So this is one task you don't have to do over and over again unless you enjoy it. Maybe you want to challenge yourself as an artist to do it slightly differently each time, which is fine. We always start from the same point, so you could skip ahead by using the same model. Now I'm looking at the bend of the fingers. I want to look at the side view. Selecting a bunch of vertices and moving those vertices down. Selecting a group again and bending them further down. Moving the vertices. Since this is a base hand and I'm just doing a generic blank character, I'm not going to go into too much detail. We'll show how to do quick fingernails when all this is done, but that's not necessary for my character currently. That pinky just flies on up. I don't think I'm going to do that part. Let me exit X-ray mode. Let me hide also the hand and see what we got, and then we'll do the thumb. I think this finger doesn't look like it fits with the rest. Back to X-ray mode, and then the thumb. This one's a little too wild. It's bigger than the rest. It's also off on its own. Scale that in. Okay, I think that's a little better. And the pinky, while we're at it, pinky shouldn't be that big. Then it wouldn't be a pinky. Be a good idea to do another multi-cut going right through here so you have extra flexibility later on. I know I'm going to be doing a mesh smooth applied to this, so it's not necessary. For a lower polygon model, you would want to do that. Let me continue with this pinky. Select this face on the bottom of the pinky. Move it up. Skipping out of X-ray mode. Hiding this. The pinky looks like a pinky toe. A little too much bend in it. All right, more pinky-ish. Look at the fingers. Do they make sense? You could have rounded fingers like this one represents, but the other ones are sharper, this one and this one. So I'll sharpen out these as well. Actually, my final character is a little more rounded. The hands, so maybe I'll go the opposite way. Round them out. I'm going to migrate this finger on the vertex level a little closer here. And over here. Make sure you save your file along the way. Let's take a look at the knuckle area where the fingers join. And then we'll look at the bottom of the hand and fix a little few things before adding the thumb. Now, depending upon how you're going to create, I know I'll be using sculpting with mesh smooth, so I can sculpt out the knuckles. If that's not the way you're going, you could add knuckles by going to the base of each finger and doing an extrusion. Then once you extrude, lifting it up a little bit and then reshaping this area more into an oblong oval that's opposite this direction. What I mean, just selecting those vertices, pulling them back. Same thing with these vertices. And wrangling in this a little bit. You can see how you can create knuckles. As I mentioned, I'm doing sculpting below to add some features in, so I don't need this step. Let me turn on the whole hand. We can deal with the thumb. I'm going to do a multi-cut here and move these vertices back. We get the multi-cut tool. Now move these vertices back. I just want to move back to give room to extrude out the thumb. Selecting this face, extrusion. Now instead of extruding this way, I'm going to continue my extrusion this way and move that over and then reshape the thumb from here. You could try it the other way. This just seems a little easier. Bring that little side kick right there. Make the thumb come out. I'll have to lower all this as well. Lower it. And just continue reshaping the area until you got a thumb. On the vertex level, just moving things over. I'm moving around these vertices because I need to extrude out one more time and then deal with this shape. Mention my character is this kind of roundish hand character. That's not a thumb yet, but that's more like a thumb. You can spend time reshaping this as you need. And based upon this thumb, let me now move over again some of these vertices for this finger. And I'm going to turn off the bottom layer. I can now look at this hand as a whole. I need a little more reshaping around the thumb area. Some parts, from some angles, it looks okay. Others, it's way too thick. Take a good multi-cut will fix that. A good position multi-cut right here. Now I have more material to push around. Make sure it doesn't look like it's kinking up too much. Once you have this rough shape going, you could spend more time refining the fingers, definitely. Just want to show you how to do a fingernail. And I said I was going to show you, decide to refine it a little more. Fingernail time. It's going to be very easy. So easy. You might want to do one more multi-cut around each finger, like around here, where you feel the fingernails begin. That depends upon your character. Do multi-cut around there, and there, and there. Selecting a face right at the tip of the finger. This is going to be done using extrusion and scaling. Extrude inward by holding down the Shift key and pressing down. Just a little bit. Scale that inward. Go back to the Move tool, hold down the Shift key and extrude upward. We have a fingernail going. Go to the tip right here and shift and drag outward. Maybe you want to scale that back inward. Then you can spend some time reshaping it so it fits better to your character. And that would just involve using the Move tool, moving around the vertices underneath the fingernail, and then moving the fingernail itself. Fit your character. Don't forget to go underneath it and reshape just that vertex and that vertex, reshaping where the fingernail connects. Be this maybe a little bit sleeker curvature going into the fingernail. You could spend a lot of time just readjusting this. This curvature maybe shouldn't be so sharp, and square it off, pull it back like that. Select all these vertices and pull it down to reshape. That's up to you and how you see your character's fingernails and hands. This was just showing a quick technique to add fingernails to your character. And maybe you want them to be a little longer, the whole tip of the finger. And this is something also that you could do if you're sculpting out your character on that level. Well, there's one. Didn't take that long. You can spend another few minutes tweaking it, and then you just have to do it another 4 times. And then you have a character with low polygon fingernails.